Welcome back to the channel, bike enthusiast, and today we have an awesome showdown between two budget full suspensions that you guys have been waiting on. The Polygon T7 and the Marin Riftzone 1. Now let's dive right into the ultimate budget full suspension showdown. First up, let's talk about frame and design. Now, both of these bikes are large frames and they both are rocking 29-inch wheels. Not only that, they're both made with aluminum to strike that perfect balance between lightness and strength. The Polygon starts us off with a slack 65.5 degree head tube angle, a reach of 480 millimeters, and a chainstay length of 430 millimeters. Not to mention, this has an eye-catching paint job that I think a lot of people are gonna like. Now, on the other hand, the Marin Riftzone 1 beats out the Polygon in reach at 485 millimeters, but this also has a little bit higher stack height at 16 millimeters higher than the Polygon. Not only that, it does come with the exact same chainstay length, keeping this bike really snappy at 430 millimeters. And for me, in this category, I'm gonna lean more towards the Marin. That extra reach and stack height does give this bike a little bit different feel. Now let's talk about suspension systems. Now the Polygon is gonna impress us right out of the gate with a RockShox setup. And it has a RockShox Recon RL 140 millimeter fork up front, and then a RockShox Deluxe Plus Select rear suspension that comes in at 135 millimeters. This suspension is really plush, smooth, and it's super easy to dial in. But hold up, because the Marin comes in with a very surprising setup in this category. This comes with the X Fusion front and back. Now this is the Slide Boost RL 140 millimeter front fork, along with the O2 Pro R rear suspension that's gonna have 130 millimeters of travel. Although both brands offer an excellent ride quality, the name brand confidence of RockShox definitely has me moving towards the Polygon in this category. Now before we move on, I do want to address something really quick. I've noticed over the past couple of weeks that my rear suspension on my Marin with this X Fusion shock, it slightly loses a little bit of air. Not much, but just enough to where I notice it, and I do have to add more air to it. Now, one of my subscribers pointed this out to me a few months ago, saying watch out for it, because they've heard that other people are experiencing this issue. Well, in fact, I am experiencing it also. So maybe the X Fusion Pro R2 is having a slight issue with its seals. I'm gonna have to check into that and figure that out. All right, let's talk drivetrains, people. The Polygon brings the heat with almost a completely full Shimano Dior 12-speed setup. This setup is really good. The only downfall is the Sun Race cassette. Now let's take a look at the Marin Riftzone 1. It mixes things up with a Shimano Dior 11-speed shifter and 11-speed rear derailleur. But it falls short because it has a no-name crankset and also has that Sun Race cassette. Now I wish both manufacturers would have spent a little bit more money and went with the Dior cassette. It really does make that big of a difference whenever you're talking about smooth shifting. But in this particular case, the clear winner is the Polygon because it comes with more Shimano parts, and not to mention, it's that 12-speed setup. You might as well go full modern in this day and age. Why drop down to an 11-speed when you can have a 12-speed? I want to take a second to thank my Drop-In Crew Pro members. Thank you so much for being a Drop-In Crew Pro member. Your contribution definitely helps this channel grow. And a huge shout out to Terry Folk for being a level 3 Drop-In Crew Pro member. Terry just became a member of the channel and I greatly appreciate it. All right, let's get back to these two bikes and see which one's gonna win out in the end. Now, wheels and tires, a critical aspect to any mountain bike. The Polygon goes all in on the enduro game with an Entity XL2 wheels. They boast a massive 35 millimeter internal width, paired with an impressive 2.6 inch wide Schwalbe tire. On the flip side, the Marin Riftzone 1 adopts a more trail style approach, rolling on Marin double-walled rims with a 29 millimeter internal width and fitted with 2.35 inch wide V-tire Crown Gem tires. Now, while preference is a big player in this decision, I'm definitely leaning more towards the Marin. I love the trail style rim setup. It makes it feel nice and snappy. Now, some of you guys may have noticed in this video that I've already upgraded the wheels and tires. I put on a set of Hunt trail wide wheels that I had from my other bike, and I also upgraded the tires with a Kenda Regolith Pro in the back and a Hellcat Pro up front. Now, these tires are super grippy, but they are definitely more on the enduro side from what I can tell. I might have to drop back down to a trail tire because I want something that rolls a little bit faster. Now, if you guys have any suggestions for a fast rolling trail style tire, let me know in the comments below. I would love to know what your favorite tires are. Next up is brakes, an essential item for any adrenaline pumped ride. The Polygon's got a unique Tektro 4+2 setup with a 4-piston caliper up front and a 2-piston caliper in the rear, providing consistent stopping power. However, the Marin Ripzone 1 goes with the reliable Shimano MT200 brakes, and here's the kicker. You can easily swap out these levers for higher end Shimano XT levers for that premium brake feel. With the upgrade potential, I'm giving the edge to the Marin in this category. And lastly, let's talk about seat post. The Polygon is sporting a 170mm dropper post made by TransX, which is awesome that it comes with one to begin with, but there is a hiccup on this bike, and that is the lever. This lever has not really performed all that well for me, but that's a super simple upgrade, and I recommend going with wolf tooth or a P&W lever. Now on the other side, the Marin Ripzone 1 doesn't even come with the dropper post right out of the gate. If you want to upgrade it like I did, I recommend going with the P&W Loam dropper. You can pick one up that will either be 150 or 170 millimeters, and it'll fit absolutely perfectly. On this, it's definitely a matter of choice of which bike you would prefer, a dropper post or not a dropper post. But for me, on this, it's definitely going to go towards the Polygon in this category. Now let's hit the trail with these beasts. The Polygon T7 may be a tad heavier, but once you're in the saddle, that weight fades away, making it climb surprisingly well considering its super slack 65.5 degree head tube angle. And let me tell you, when it comes to downhill, this bike rockets down a hill like a beast, but it can feel a bit sluggish in tight turns where you have to slow down and speed up. On the other side, the Marin Ripzone 1 comes in a little lighter overall, and that translates to a snappier, more responsive feel. Climbing is a breeze, and it accelerates like lightning coming out of those tight turns. While it may not feel as planted on those rough downhill sections as the Polygon, it still boosts impressive confidence. So which one of these bikes do I prefer to ride more? Well, that's really hard to say. This Polygon T7 has an enduro-hungry setup. It's got beefy 35mm wheels, beefy 35mm bars, came with the dropper post, and has really wide 2.6-inch tires. This bike is super hard to beat for the price. But then there's the Marin Ripzone 1 offering a quick, snappy trail experience that I genuinely enjoy. So comment below and let me know which bike you would choose. Out of the two bikes, it's gonna be a really hard choice. Are you more of a rough, rocky enduro style rider? Then maybe the Polygon's gonna work for you. Or are you gonna lean more towards the Marin, where it's gonna give you that fast XC style and trail style qualities? Now in the end, it all boils down to what kind of rider you are, and also what kind of local trails you have. For me, most of my trails are gonna be XC and light trail oriented. So I definitely lean towards the Marin quite a bit more. But on those days that I'm gonna hit up a couple of trails that are gonna be a little bit rougher, I'm definitely reaching for the Polygon. So no matter which bike you choose, both are gonna be awesome options. And in the end, it all comes down to one thing. That's you, the rider. So which bike would you pick?